Surrender is often misunderstood. It is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is not passivity. Surrender is strength. It is the courage to release what you cannot control. It is the wisdom to stop fighting life's current, and the trust to let it carry you to where you are meant to be. Control drains, surrender restores. Control tightens, surrender softens. Control cages, surrender frees. This book is not about abandoning yourself. It is about releasing the burden of control and discovering the peace that has been waiting beneath your struggle. Let us walk together into that peace. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Control. Every human being has felt the pull of control, the urge to manage, to predict, to secure every outcome. Control feels safe, or at least it promises safety. But what it delivers is exhaustion. From the earliest years, you were taught to strive. Do well, plan carefully, think ahead. And while planning has value, control goes further. It demands certainty where certainty cannot exist. Think about the last time you made detailed plans only for life to disrupt them. Perhaps you saved money only to face an unexpected expense. Perhaps you gave your heart only to face betrayal. Perhaps you planned your future only for illness, loss, or change to arrive uninvited. No matter how hard you tried, life had the final say. This is the nature of control. It convinces you that if you just hold tighter, you can prevent pain. But in truth, the tighter you grip, the more restless you become. Because deep down, you know, you are clinging to smoke. Control shows up in many disguises. It looks like micromanaging others. It looks like overthinking every choice. It looks like replaying conversations in your mind, trying to reshape what has already passed. Control also shows up in relationships. You try to control how others see you, what they think of you, whether they stay or go. You bend, shrink, or perform in hopes of securing their approval. But approval is not love, and no amount of control can make someone stay who is not aligned to stay. Control even extends inward into the realm of emotions. You tell yourself, I should not feel this way. So you suppress grief, bury anger, deny longing. But unacknowledged feelings do not disappear. They wait pressing at the edges until they surface in ways you did not expect. The illusion of control is powerful because it whispers, if you hold on tightly enough, you can keep yourself safe. But what is the cost of that illusion? Tension in the body, anxiety in the mind, distance in relationships, exhaustion in the soul. The image of control is a clenched fist, rigid, hard, unwilling to release. The image of surrender is an open palm, soft, steady, ready to receive. The first drains you, the second restores you. This does not mean you are powerless. You have agency, yes. You can choose integrity, you can set boundaries, and you can act with courage. But control over life's flow, over others' choices, over the timing of seasons, that was never yours to hold. Peace begins the moment you loosen your grip. The moment you stop demanding certainty, the moment you allow life to breathe on its own. Notice your life. Where are you clenching? Where are you exhausting yourself by trying to hold what is not yours to hold? Even now, imagine opening your hand. Imagine releasing what was never yours. Can you feel the relief in that? That is surrender. That is freedom. Chapter 2. The fear that fuels resistance. If control is the illusion, fear is the fuel that keeps it burning. Fear whispers, if you let go, everything will collapse. Fear warns, if you do not hold on, you will be abandoned, betrayed, or destroyed. Fear convinces you that surrender is weakness, that if you release, you will lose. This fear does not always scream. It often speaks quietly. It hides in disguise. It disguises itself as planning. You tell yourself you are being responsible, but really you are rehearsing every possible disaster. It disguises itself as perfectionism. You say you are just trying to do your best, but in truth, you are terrified of failure, terrified of being seen as not enough. It disguises itself as caution. You call it wisdom, but it is really fear of disappointment, a fear of rejection, fear of risk. Fear is smart. It dresses itself in the clothes of prudence and logic. It convinces you that your tension is necessary, that your vigilance is protection. But what has fear really given you? Endless nights awake, endless cycles of doubt, endless hesitations when you knew you wanted to act. Fear does not only rob peace, it also robs opportunity. Think of the moments you wanted to speak but stayed silent, the invitations you wanted to accept but declined, the dreams you wanted to chase but delayed. Those were not only missed chances, they were moments surrendered to fear. And yet fear is not your enemy, it is a messenger. It points directly to the places where trust has not yet taken root. It reveals the edges of your growth, the places where surrender is waiting. When fear tells you, if you let go, you will fall, you can answer, if I let go, I may finally fly. When fear says, if you trust, you will be hurt, you can answer, if I trust, I will be free. To see fear clearly is to weaken it, because fear thrives in disguise. Once you name it, its grip loosens. Notice your own story. Where does fear rule your choices? Where does it keep you clinging to control? And now ask, is this really truth or only fear pretending to be wisdom? Fear may always whisper, but it no longer needs to rule, because trust is louder and peace is stronger. And every time you choose to loosen your grip, you prove to yourself that fear's warnings were never the whole story. Chapter 3. Trusting the flow of life. Life is a river. It moves whether you resist or release. It carries you forward even when you're unaware of the current beneath you. When you fight the current, you exhaust yourself. You thrash against what already is. You try to push upstream, demanding that life follow your map. And the more you resist, the more you sink into weariness. But when you float, when you surrender to the water that holds you, something changes. The same current that once felt threatening becomes the very force that carries you. This is the essence of surrender. Not giving up, but allowing life to guide you instead of fighting against it. Think of seasons. You cannot force winter to turn into spring. You cannot demand the sun rise before its hour. And yet, when the season is right, the snow melts, the flowers bloom, the light returns. This is the rhythm of life. It is not yours to control. It is yours to trust. When you learn to trust the flow of life, you begin to see what fear once blinded you to. You notice the opportunities that appear at the perfect time. You recognize the lessons hidden inside delays. You begin to understand that even endings are doorways guiding you to new beginnings. This does not mean passivity. The river still requires your presence. You must learn to swim, to navigate, to choose whether to rest in the still waters or paddle when the rapids rise. But you no longer waste energy fighting the current itself. You align with it. Trusting the flow is not about abandoning responsibility. It is about releasing the illusion that you must force everything. It is about recognizing that life has a wisdom of its own, one far greater than your plans. Pause for a moment and remember a time when life surprised you for the better. Perhaps a relationship ended, and though painful, it made space for one that honored you. Perhaps a job closed, and though frightening, it led to an opportunity you never expected. Perhaps a delay frustrated you, but later you saw it placed you exactly where you needed to be. This is the flow of life, and when you trust it, peace returns, because you no longer demand that life obey your timeline. You allow life to reveal its own. Every river knows its destination. It does not rush it, it does not panic, it simply flows. And so does life. So do you. To trust the flow is to remember you are carried, you are held, you are guided, and you can rest. Chapter 4. The Power of Acceptance. Acceptance is one of the purest forms of surrender, but acceptance is often misunderstood. People think it means resignation, a passive giving and a denial of pain. But acceptance is not resignation, it is recognition. It is the clarity to say, this is what is here now. When you resist reality, you suffer twice. First from the experience itself, and then from the story you create around it. And you say, this should not be happening. And your heart grows heavier. You say, I cannot bear this. And your spirit collapses under the weight. But acceptance removes the second layer of suffering. It does not erase grief, but it frees you from the fight against grief. It does not deny disappointment, but it allows you to face it without the burden of resistance. Acceptance does not ask you to like what has happened. It asks you to see it clearly, to stand in truth without twisting away. Because only when you accept reality can you begin to respond with wisdom. Think of a storm. You cannot stop the rain from falling. You cannot order the thunder to be silent, but you can accept that the storm is here. You can take shelter. You can light a candle. You can wait for the clouds to pass. Acceptance turns your energy away from fighting what you cannot change, toward responding to what you can. Acceptance is also the soul of transformation. A wound cannot begin to heal until it is acknowledged. A truth cannot set you free until it is seen. A new path cannot open until you admit the old one has ended. This is why denial delays healing. It locks you in the past, clinging to a reality that no longer exists. But acceptance, though difficult, opens the door to the next chapter. Acceptance is not about abandoning hope. It is about placing hope on what is real. It shifts your question from why me to what is life showing me now? It transforms despair into curiosity, pain into teacher, loss into doorway. When you accept, you stop wasting energy on battles you cannot win. You redirect that energy toward what you can create, what you can choose, or what you can become. Acceptance is surrender in action. It is the moment your soul says, this is here, and even here I can live, even here I can rise. Chapter 5. Letting go without losing yourself. One of the greatest fears about surrender is this: if I let go, will I disappear? Will I lose myself? Will others walk all over me? This fear is understandable, because for many, letting go was confused with powerlessness. You were told to obey, to stay silent, to endure what hurt you. That is not surrender. That is abandonment of self. True surrender never asks you to betray yourself. It does not mean allowing abuse. It does not mean tolerating what is toxic. It does not mean erasing your voice. Surrender is not about losing yourself. It is about releasing what was never yours to hold. It is about loosening your grip on outcomes, not on your integrity. It is about letting go of control, not letting go of truth. Boundaries are an essential part of surrender. They say, I will no longer carry what is not mine. I will no longer fight to hold what does not belong, but I will also not betray who I am. Think of holding a rope in a tug of war. Your hands burn, your body strains, and you tell yourself, if I let go, I will lose. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if the only way to win is to drop the rope, to refuse the battle that was never yours? This is surrender. You do not disappear when you release. You appear more fully because your energy is no longer trapped in endless battles. It returns to you. It fuels your healing, your growth, your joy. Letting go means you trust that you do not need to control outcomes in order to be safe. It means you trust that what belongs to you cannot be stolen, and what leaves you was never meant to stay. This is freedom to release what is not yours while holding fiercely to what is, your worth, your truth, your essence. Surrender is not the death of self. It is the discovery of self. It is remembering that you are more than what you cling to. It is knowing that even when things fall away, you remain whole. Chapter 6. Practices of Surrender. Surrender is not only an idea, it is a practice. Something lived daily, moment by moment, because fear will return. Control will tempt you. Illusions will whisper again. And when they do, practice anchors you. The first practice is breath. Your breath is your teacher. Every inhale says, I receive what is here. Every exhale says, I release what no longer belongs. When fear rises, breathe slowly. Let every breath ground you in trust. The second practice is awareness of tension. Notice where you are clenching, your jaw, your fist, your chest. Each tightness is a sign of control. Soften it. Release it. Say gently, I do not need to hold this. The third practice is trust statements. Words shape your reality. When fear says, I cannot handle this, answer with, I am held, I am guided, I can rest. When doubt says, it will all collapse, answer with, life supports me more than I know. The fourth practice is boundaries. Draw them not from fear, but from clarity. Say, this is where I end and you begin. This is what I allow and this is what I release. Boundaries protect your energy so surrender can root itself deeply. The fifth practice is solitude, not isolation, but chosen stillness. Time away from noise, time to sit with your own heart, time to listen for what is true beneath the surface. Solitude reminds you you are safe in your own company. The sixth practice is daily release. At the end of each day, pause and ask, what am I still gripping? Then imagine setting it down, a worry, a plan, a wound. Lay it gently at the feet of life and let tomorrow carry what today cannot. Finally, there is trust and rhythm. Begin to notice the patterns, the way endings make space for beginnings, the way closed doors redirect you, the way delays protect you. As you notice, your faith deepens. You stop demanding control and start recognizing guidance. Surrender will not always feel natural. At times, you will return to clenching, to grasping, to fearing. But every practice is a doorway back. Every breath, every boundary, every release is a way of remembering you do not need to control everything to live. You only need to surrender to love, to trust, to flow. Chapter 7. Living in peace beyond control. To live surrendered is to live free. Free from the endless struggle to manage what was never yours. Free from the tightness of control, from the weight of fear, from the constant demand for certainty. Surrender does not erase challenge. Storms will still come. Plans will still change. People will still surprise you. But when you are surrendered, the storms do not drown you. The changes do not undo you. The surprises do not steal your ground. Because your peace no longer depends on control. Living surrendered looks like softness in the midst of chaos. It looks like patience when delays arrive. It looks like trust when answers are not yet clear. It looks like peace that makes no sense to those still clinging to fear. This peace is not passive. It is powerful. It is the strength of a soul that knows, I am held, I am guided, I am safe to release. In surrender, relationships shift. You stop trying to control others. You allow them to walk their own paths. You stop bending to secure their approval. You stop clinging to keep them close. Instead, you meet them in freedom. You give without bargaining. You love without fear. And when people leave, you trust it is for alignment, not abandonment. In surrender, your work transforms. You no longer panic over outcomes. You show up, you give your best, and you release what is beyond your influence. Success no longer feels like a fragile prize to be snatched away. It becomes a natural result of living aligned. In surrender, your inner world softens. The mind grows quieter. The body relaxes. The heart steadies. Because you have remembered what was true all along, you are not meant to carry everything. Living surrendered does not mean life will always feel easy, but it means you will face life with ease. Even in uncertainty, you will breathe. Even in endings, you will trust. Even in loss, you will remember. Nothing essential can ever be taken from you. This is the miracle of surrender. What fear once convinced you would destroy you becomes the very doorway into freedom. What control once tried to protect is now restored in a greater way through release. So let your grip soften. Let your shoulders drop. Let your heart remember. You do not need to force life. You do not need to fight the river. You do not need to control what was never yours. You need only to trust, to allow, to surrender. And in that surrender, you will discover peace, not the fragile peace that depends on circumstance, but the unshakable peace that flows from within. Peace beyond control. Peace beyond fear. Peace that holds you steady through it all. This peace is already yours. Live in it,